What is up, Texas Longhorns fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Timm here with the Texas Longhorns Daily Blitz. It's been a while with the offseason and things happening. Just, not a lot to talk about, I didn't think. But you know what? It is game week. It is the day before week one for 2025. And there is indeed things to talk about, boys and girls. Preseason number 1, Texas Longhorns against the preseason number 3, Ohio State Buckeyes in the vaunted rematch, if you want to call it that. I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of a rematch. Two entirely different teams from their last matchup. Different quarterbacks, different coaching staff, and some, not entirely, but different coaches on staffs in some cases. But still the excitement is there. And, for the fans, it's still the rematch. Both of these schools are used to dealing with pressure. Expectations for both of these schools run extremely high. It is one of the most hyped, possibly, matchups here, I think, for opening week for sure. In recent memory, can't think, at least in my recent memory, which goes back not so recent. It's definitely the most anticipated game of Saturday's opener, week one. I don't care what LSU and Clemson fans say. Don't care what Notre Dame, Miami fans say. Don't care what Alabama, Florida State fans say. This is definitely the most anticipated and hyped game on Saturday. It's the 5th meeting between the two programs. 3 of the past 4 meetings, including the 2 times they have met in the regular season, the winner of this game has gone on to play for the national title. Will that be the case this year? Maybe. Keep in mind, too, this is not your normal or what we're used to in most cases, the college football format. A week 1 loss, you're done. You're out of the playoff, or you're out of the national championship talk. The conversation has passed you because you've got a loss. Well, that's not the case anymore because of the playoff system. And I honestly don't think that this game has one bearing one way or the other on the national championship implications for either one of these teams. Does that mean it's not going to be exciting? Well, of course not. We want to see the teams play. There's no preseason in college football, so this is the first chance we get to see of the Longhorns. It's the first chance we get to see for the Buckeyes. And, it's going to have – the game itself will have national title conversation implications. But whichever one of these teams loses, you're not out of the national title discussion because of the playoff system. And there's a good chance these 2 teams will play again in December. I think we would all like that to happen. The last time these two matched up, of course, was back on January 10th in the college football playoff semifinal at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The Buckeyes pulled away late in that game for a 28-14 win. In the 232 days since the teams last met, 26 players from that entire game have now moved on to the NFL, 14 from the Buckeyes, 12 from the Longhorns, with only 17 of the 44 remaining combined starters on offense and defense still here. So it's 2 brand-new look teams, 2 brand-new starting quarterbacks, Arch Manning for Texas, Julian Sain for Ohio State. And, of course, Longhorns fans are familiar with Julian Sain because he was heavily recruited, by everybody, but definitely by the Longhorns. Steve Sarkisian's 100% familiar with Julian Sain. And, how will that come into factor the game on Saturday? Who knows? The Longhorns have made 50 appearances at number 1 in the AP poll, but they come into Ohio Stadium now as the preseason number 1 for the first time in program history. It'll be the 4th time the AP's top-ranked team has met the previous season's national champion in the opener. The last time was 1988 when Miami blanked number 1 Florida State 31-0. So if you're a fan of history, you're a fan of trends, and I know that it was 40 whatever years ago now, 30 whatever years ago. But you'd like a repeat of that if you're a Longhorns fan for sure. To have, can you imagine the Longhorns knocking off Ohio State, the reigning national champions, at the Horseshoe, 31-0. I mean, clearly we don't think that's going to happen. But anything is possible because you've got Heisman Trophy contender Arch Manning making his third collegiate start. He played in 10 games last year, including 2 starts. He made a brief appearance against the Buckeyes and had an 8-yard carry. Of course, he's receiving the most attention, but he is definitely not the only factor, the player that will factor into a win here. He's even admitted that himself, and he's grown a lot maturity-wise, physically, and I think Coach Sark and the staff at Texas have been incredibly good to him and good for him in his development as a quarterback. On the other side, you've got Jeremiah Smith, maybe the best player offensively, the best player offensively for the Buckeyes. But he might not be the best wide receiver even in the game on Saturday because of Ryan Wingo for the Longhorns. This guy's a beast, 6'1", 215. Like Jeremiah Smith does for the Buckeyes, Wingo is going to create mismatches physically for some of the Buckeyes defensive backs, I think, and he's got speed. That is a rare combination, especially in the college game. Last season, Wingo had 29 catches for 472 yards and 2 touchdowns as a freshman. On the other side of the ball, we know all about Arch. We've talked about Julian. He's making his first collegiate start ever. He took 27 snaps in 4 games last season and was an abysmal 5 for 12 for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. Wiped that clean. It wasn't his team. They weren't his. He wasn't there yet, right? He was just subbing for Kyle McCord or for whoever was under center up there. But he is now, it's his team. He has inherited the team. He's the 5th quarterback under Ryan Day to make his first start, including Dwayne Haskins, if you count when Day was an offensive coordinator for the Buckeyes back in 2018. Justin Fields got his first start under Day in 2019. C.J. Stroud got his first start under Day in 2021. Kyle McCord in 2023. So, of course, C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields, NFL quarterbacks now. Fields now moving on from the Bears and Steelers in New York. And C.J. Stroud lighting things up for the Houston Texans. Those 4 previous guys to Julian Sayin averaged over 3,900 yards, 40 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and almost a 69% completion rate. So Julian Sayin is set up for success. What can the Longhorns do defensively to slow him down? Well, they've got 6 starters returning on defense, lost 2 in the secondary, including Jahdae Barron, who won the Jim Thorpe Award as the nation's top defensive back last season. So the Longhorns will have their work cut out for them defensively. Giving my honest, I'll give my pick here and my score at the end, but I honestly think that the Longhorns defensively will be up to the challenge for Sayin, for Smith, for the Buckeyes offense. On the Ohio State side, Matt Patricia has taken over as the Ohio State defensive coordinator. We all know him from the NFL under Bill Belichick. Almost said Bill Parcells. Under Bill Belichick in New England, he had a short, unsuccessful stint as the Lions head coach. He now finds himself, in Columbus at Ohio State, and maybe the best player on the field on Saturday will be Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. He's going to be, if not already, one of the top-ranked defensive prospects for the NFL draft next year. The defensive line is a concern for the Buckeyes. They've got 4 new starters. Can the Longhorns offensive line, big offensive line, take advantage of that? Probably. We'll see how things work out. But overall, again, I said I'd give my prediction. Let's go over. Look, I'll do that now. Just cut this thing short. I'll just do it now. Get 10 minutes into a podcast, people start to tune out, so we're about 10 minutes in. Overall, this thing is in Columbus, obviously. road games for the Longhorns have typically done well. Texas has 11 straight true road game wins, including 5 against ranked opponents. They haven't lost to an opponent on the opponent's home field, because remember, there's like neutral site games, so we don't count those. But on an opponent's home field, Texas has won 11 straight, including like 5 against ranked opponents. They haven't lost in that situation since October 22nd, 2022, at Oklahoma State, of all places. That streak includes wins over Michigan, over Alabama, and over little brother Texas A&M. So with that in mind, I don't know how you can say with any semblance of certainty or confidence that the Longhorns aren't going to do the same thing going into Columbus on Saturday. My pick for you guys, Texas 28, Ohio State 23. The Longhorns start the season 1-0, and they will remain the number 1 ranked team in the country after week 1. If you want to get into deeper predictions like stats and stuff, who will have a good, I really have no idea. It's week 1. I got to see more. We'll offer those in future previews for Longhorns games. But right now, I look for the Longhorns offense to outmatch the Buckeyes defense, maybe across the board. I see the Longhorns defense having a few problems with the high-powered Julian Sayin to Jeremiah Smith connection. So, again, 28-23 Longhorns on Saturday. That is my pick. I would love to hear from you guys to hear what you guys think about the upcoming Longhorns-Buckeyes matchup. Find me on all social media at IndyCar Timm, or if you'd like to comment underneath the video here in the comment section, please do so. And we would love to talk about your comments and your predictions maybe on the next show when we do the recap for Longhorns. We'll do that on Monday for you here on the Longhorns Daily Blitz right here on FanStream Sports. Until next time, boys and girls, we'll see you.